Today we're in Raleigh, North Carolina, visiting the charming cottage of content creator Chizoba Uwakwe, whose home is filled with secondhand treasures, nature-inspired hues, and meaningful family mementos.
I like to call this place the cottage because we have a lot of little animals running around in the backyard and in the front yard. We have squirrels, rabbits, sometimes cats. And so when I saw this little rabbit art piece at a local store, I knew I had to get it just to tie in bits of nature into the house.
Known for her love of baking and her cozy at-home moments, Chizoba has created a true retreat, not just for herself and her fiancé, but for everyone who steps through the door. She's inviting us inside her beautiful home and shares a simple yet delicious recipe perfect for fall baking. To enjoy her full home tour ad-free, where she shares her bright upstairs nook and more about her love of home, scan the QR code or click the join button below. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. I'm Allison Kenworthy, the founder of Homeworthy, and we take you inside the world's most beautifully decorated homes and introduce you to the brilliant people who live there.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Liz Lang. Welcome to Grey Gardens.
Click the join button below to access all of our latest episodes ad-free and watch extended cuts of this and other homes, opening the doors to new rooms and exclusive content featuring our beloved hosts.
I can't wait to see, I'm so excited.
And if you're looking to shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy tastemakers, be sure to use the product links below or scan the QR code on screen to find fabulous furniture, coffee table books, and accessories that can transform your house into a home.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Chizoba Uwakwe, and welcome to my home cottage here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Come on in. I'm Chizoba Uwakwe. I'm a food and home content creator, and welcome to my cottage. We started our home journey about 8 months ago in the Raleigh-Durham area. What drew us to this home and cottage here in Raleigh is just the scenery. We lived back in downtown Durham, which was lovely, so much fun, great food around, very walkable. But we wanted something just a little bit quieter and with lots of nature in a backyard. And so when we came into this home on a random Tuesday, we were the first people to see it, which was really, really nice and really fun. But we saw it had a huge backyard. There was a playground in the backyard. When we walked in, you could just feel the cozy sense of the home, and you could see that the previous owners really loved and cherished the home. They were here for about 25 years. And I think we are now the third owners of this cottage/home. And so it's just nice to be a part of the home's legacy, but also be able to make it our own. My favorite spot in the house, or favorite space in the house, is really hard to pick because I view this house as like a book. So each space tells its own story, from the kitchen to our music room to the guest bedroom to the nook. But I personally would say, since I'm a food content creator, I really made the kitchen a place that I wanted to be in all the time. And so that is my favorite space in the house. What inspired my love for home is I'm a homebody. And so since I'm also a creator, so I work from home, it's just I wanted to create a space that I would love and feel comfortable in, and a space that not only I would also feel comfortable in, but also my community comfortable in. I love hosting. I love having people over, whether that's just to sit on the couch and just chat, or have my neighbors come when I bake them goodies. So I just really love the aspect of the home being a place for everyone to gather, but also a place for me, just a different addition and aspect of me. A lot of things you're going to figure out with our space is that we love thrifting and love going to estate sales, but also local antique stores. So a lot of the pieces here are, I would say, 75% thrifted. First, we have our little gallery wall here, We just got a couple pieces from estate sales, just figuring out where they would go, and this is the layout we came with. The couch we recently just got. I've been on the hunt on Facebook Marketplace for a striped couch. So when this came up, I snatched it. She posted it like 30 minutes ago. And I was like, hi, is this still available? And she said yes. And I was like, perfect. And so my sister-in-law and I, we went and grabbed it and brought it here into this space. Next, we have our pedestal with our little picture and light. We recently got this off of another Facebook Marketplace find. When we went to go pick up a Facebook Marketplace item, they actually had other things for sale. And I love bundling something and just coming up with a truckload of treasure. And so that's what happened with this pedestal. We went over there for some curtains and he was like, hey, we just bought a place out back and we just want to get things out of the house so we can move and, you know, get it clean so they can sell the house. And so they had this podium available and I was like, that's actually really cute. I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna put it, which is about the same with half the things in this house. But I truly believe in if you love it and it just sparks joy in the moment that you see it, just get it and you'll figure out where it's gonna be later. And so that's how this ended up being here. When we were back in our apartment before this, we had a cozy corner. And so when we got the house, I wanted cozy corners everywhere. And so this is our living room cozy corner. It has a lot of our knickknacks. We love collecting art. My fiance's grandma is very creative and my family knows how much I love art. And so when they got us these cards just to celebrate the house, but also our engagement, I knew it had to be up here. This is a little tea kettle I got from an estate sale that just sparked so much joy in me. I love baking and as a food and home content creator, this really stuck out to me because it says the baker's in and I thought that was just like, that was too cute. It was for me, so I had to get it. I like to call this place the Cottage because we have a lot of little animals running around in the backyard and in the front yard. We have squirrels, rabbits, sometimes cats. And so when I saw this little rabbit art piece at a local store, I knew I had to get it just to tie in bits of nature into the house. I love green, as you're gonna see. It just brings me so much comfort and coziness. So when these green chairs became available at one of our favorite antique stores, I knew we had to grab it. Here we have our fall mantle. Fall is my absolute favorite season, so I like to just bring it into the house whenever and however I can. And one of the things I absolutely love now that I'm no longer in an apartment is that I have a fireplace mantle. And so I am taking every opportunity to decorate it. And so this is how we decorate it for fall. Here we have our TV. I know people can be funny about TVs above the fireplace, but this is where we thought it was perfect for us. My fiance and I love TV shows. We love movies. That is our thing. So we wanted this space to feel super cozy and comfortable as we're watching TV. And so just to tie it in with the space, and since we have a lot of art pieces here, we got this TV frame from Etsy. Over here is one of my favorite pieces. This has been with me through 3 different living spaces, from our apartments to the house now. I got this when I got my first big girl apartment. She is from Restore, and I have a little Honda CR-V, so when it fit, kind of through like ropes and magical things, we were able to transport it to our apartment, but I don't know how we got it in. We were just very determined to bring it in. And so it has been with us through 2 apartments and now our house. My fiance was like, are you sure you want this at the house? And I almost started crying. That's how much I absolutely love this piece. I think is one of the reasons why I'm here today, just my love of thrifting, as it was one of the first big things that I've thrifted from Restore. And yeah, it just holds so much sentimental value to who I am and who I'm becoming. And so we filled it up with a couple of our favorite things, from cookbooks to Beyonce's whiskey brand, because we are big Beyonce fans, to our love for Piccadilly Childs. So our coffee table, I was on the hunt on Facebook Marketplace for a coffee table that I wanted to elevate it. The coffee table I had previously wasn't really fitting our style, so when I was searching for one, this actually came up to be one of the coffee tables I found and absolutely love. The detailing is what truly drew me to this coffee table. It holds a lot of our favorite things, from flowers and plants from local farmers market, to books that our family has thrifted us, to our little matches that we had made for our housewarming party as just a little thank you to the guests who came, to this Portuguese ceramic tray that was from my favorite local store here. They posted it on Instagram story, and I saw it had like deer and just everything that I love to like nature, and I knew it had to be in this space, and so that's how this coffee table came to be. Another thing I absolutely love about our coffee table is we get our candles from Kai's Candles here in Raleigh, North Carolina. She has a candle making class where we went for Valentine's Day. Around that time we were ring shopping, and my fiance, when we had our engagement, he actually worked with her and they had all the candles lit up, and so she's super special to us, and so every time we try to get new candles, I always go to her first just because we love her so much. Yeah. So this is another piece that we got from that Facebook Marketplace meetup where they're like, we need to get rid of things. And I was like, perfect. I just got a house. I need to fill it with things. And so we got this, another thing that I didn't know where it was going to be. And it ended up being over here and working out perfectly. I got this silver tray from a thrift store down in Durham. And I was hosting my first ever Christmas party, and I was like, you know what, let me just get some cute little elevated serviceware. And so that's where I got this silver tray, and now it is here for people to come. We had another thing made for our housewarming party, these little napkins that say the Cozy Cottage, established in 2025, because that's when we got the house. Just a little thing for people to come and, you know, keep, but also remember us by here. Okay. So when I love getting flowers, and I love getting flowers from local farmers markets or like local places, but this is very local because I got this from my backyard. When we were trying to figure out how we were gonna get fall into the house, I was like looking all around me, and I was like, you know what? Those branches look really nice and really pretty, and they display the aspect of fall because it is fall. And so I literally, my fiance and I, we got out of the car, and we just went around the neighborhood and picked some branches, and then he trimmed it for me to get all the bugs out and inspect it, which was really kind of him. And that's how this came to be, and I think we did a pretty good job. When we first came and saw the house, I knew I wanted to fill this wall with something special. My fiance's family is very creative. And so my sister-in-law and I, we put our two forces together and came up with this painted picture molding idea after inspecting just the space around us, our cute little glass frame outside. And we were like, okay, this actually might work for over here. So we ran down to Hobby Lobby and got some stencils to paint on the leaf aspect, and then some painter's tape to do the stripes, and it turned out very nice and I think very beautiful, and it was truly a dream come true just to be able to collaborate with my sisters-in-law and just have a fun project together. So after we were done doing the project, I was like, okay, we need a table. Where do I go for anything in the house? Our local Restore. So we got this table from the Restore. It was one of the new arrivals, and it was absolutely stunning. The gold hardware on here is what really drew me in. And so since we like to thrift and just gather things and collect things for the house, we just put some pieces on here that we had, from the basket to this Mackenzie Chow's canister to this oil painting, and just some things from our local thrift stores and antique stores. A fun thing that we did for our housewarming party was have people come over here and grab a pen and draw themselves or the cottage, and then write their name just to keep it as a little memorabilia. And so here is a little collection of all the things that all the drawings that people did. We have my very creative sisters-in-laws here. We have our friends. There are different interpretations of the cottage. They drew themselves. Just something nice to have and keep. And so this space here, I really wanted something to separate the living room and the kitchen. I didn't really want to put in doors, and so I went onto Pinterest, got a couple ideas, and saw that people were doing curtains to separate spaces. And so we got these curtains from Wayfair, and they have this pretty print here with like nature and animals, and I knew it was perfect for the space. To hold the curtains back, we got this beautiful curtain tie back from Anthropologie that has beautiful flowers on it, and I just thought that was perfect for the cottage and the space. In my favorite space of the house, welcome to my kitchen. Here, I really made my personality shine. Green is one of my favorite colors, so when I knew a space that I was going to be in for quite frequently, I wanted it to feel comfort and cozy. And so we painted it green. We painted the cabinets green. And to go with the coziness, English countryside, we replaced the countertops that came with the house with this lovely butcher's block. Then I'm learning to make different pies for the fall and holiday season. And so I have a little pie dough recipe here just to have as a reference, along with my favorite cookware, along with some snacks that we like to just pick through throughout the day. And if we have any hunger in the middle of the night, we just come over there and get a little snack. Here, I knew I really wanted a sink where I actually felt like doing the dishes. To go with the aspect of nature, bringing nature into the cottage, I wanted a lot of the lights in the house to have little floral prints or floral aspects to it. And so we found this lovely light at Anthropologie, and my fiance, he did have a little trouble installing it, but he ended up doing a good job, and here it is today. We have my trusty handy dandy KitchenAid, where I love mixing and baking with. As a food content creator, I make a lot of baked goods and I cook a lot of things. And so having my KitchenAid has been truly a blessing, yes. Since we don't have a microwave, we use this kettle all the time to warm up anything. With yeasted products, you have to get the temperature in order for the yeast to bloom. And so that's what I use when I'm baking, but it's also great to melt butter or combine ingredients. And so we absolutely love using our kettle and have been doing great since we don't have a microwave. So when we first got the house, the kitchen floor was filled with aluminum. But it was in pretty bad condition, and I wasn't really ready to make a permanent decision on what the kitchen floor should be. And so these checkered towels were going pretty viral on TikTok. And so I was like, let me check it out. It's a pretty cost-effective way in case I don't like it. And I absolutely love them. They are pretty sturdy and have held up for us for the time that we have been here. And so now that I know that I like checkered tile, I am now ready to make the investment and go with red checkered tiles in the future. This rug I originally got for my fiance's music room since it is red, but it was a little too small for this space. So when I was trying to figure out where it would go in the house, I was like, you know what? I'm here all the time. I want to feel comfortable. You know, that little breaker thing that you do when you have a baked good in the oven, just looking at it, making sure it's going okay. And so it's nice to have this rug just to be comfortable in case I want to peek into the baked goods, take a little breather, but also feel comfortable as I'm washing dishes as well. I started out on social media just wanting to document my senior year and everything that I was doing that year, from working out to my favorite outfits to hanging out with my friends. And so when I graduated, I just continued doing that while working at my corporate job. And then it led more towards my hobbies because I wanted to have a little something to do after work that would spark joy. And what sparked joy the most for me was cooking and baking. And so I started to share that with my community. My community started loving that with me. And so that's how we became a food creator. And here we are now. What sparked my love for cooking and baking is just the experimental aspect of it. I love experimenting and trying new things. And with cooking and baking, there's a whole world out there of different things that you can do and you can try. And so that's what sparked joy and made me excited to bake and cook. And so that's how I started getting into more cooking and baking and just learning more about it. I would say my favorite things to bake is yeasted products. So from like cinnamon rolls to bread to yeasted doughs like donuts, just because you have that little break in between for like 2 or 3 hours just to like, okay, give me time to clean the kitchen while the dough is fermenting. And then just the pillowiness of yeasted products and just the numbers of ways you can make a cinnamon roll or a donut or bread is why that's my favorite thing to bake. Welcome to my cozy corner, the place that everybody knows and loves. When I first moved into my apartment before we lived in this house, it didn't have a kitchen island, and the apartment previously to that apartment did. So when finding solutions for the filming aspect of being in that apartment, I wanted to keep it seamless. And so we went over to a bunch of different stores and then ended up at Crate & Barrel where they had this beautiful kitchen island. And I was like, this is perfect. I absolutely love this kitchen island. It's island that I have been able to launch my career with. And so it's just really something special, and I'm really happy that we were able to find a spot for it here in our cottage. Here it has a lot of my favorite things, from cozy candles to a lot of my favorite bakeware. So we have my little flour, sugar. It just keeps it really nice and accessible when I am filming and baking in a space. I love watching TV and movies while baking, and so that's my community. They love to see what I'm watching, and so we got this Amazon Echo just so they could see what I was watching and join along with me. So here's my favorite part of the cozy corner, the artwork here. It is done by my fiance's grandma because she's an artist and the family's just beautifully creative. When we went over to his parents' house, just hang and see how they were doing, they had these art pieces in the back of a room somewhere. And so my sister-in-laws and I, we went over there and searched through the pieces to see what we wanted to take home with us. And since you have a little cottage here, and a little aspect of nature, I knew these two pieces had to come home with us. When we first moved into the house/cottage, the previous owner, like we mentioned before, didn't really update anything, and so there was just a generic light up here. And since this aspect of the corner is so special to me, I really wanted it to be something nice and beautiful. And so we went over to our favorite store in downtown Raleigh, Home, and they had this beautiful light piece, and I just was amazed at it and knew it had to come home with me, and here she is today. With my love for fall, but also different seasons, I love decorating this cozy corner for whatever season is here. Fall just happens to be my favorite, so I like to go all out for that along with Christmas. And so here I combined a few garlands that I got off Etsy and different stores online, and it came out beautifully. Put it in a basket to hold up here, and it became what it is today. With this portion of the kitchen being the first thing you see when you walk into the door, I wanted it to be something special, and so we filled it up with a couple artwork that we got from estate sale, this beautiful light switch that reminds me of nature around us and a little bit of romanticization like Disney, and we put up a few cutting boards and this beautiful bow hook just to put in some nice little letters and recipes in, and that's how this section came to be. It's a cozy and perfect day here in the cottage, which makes it a great time to make some pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. Here, I've let the batter sit for about an hour just to help the flavors deepen. Now, we're gonna garnish with some chocolate chips, some pumpkin seeds, and some sugar, just, for a bakery style look. First, to garnish, I made a chocolate chip and pumpkin seed mixture. And we're gonna add this to our muffins here, just for an added crunch and fun for the muffins. Now my favorite thing to do for just an added crisp layer to the muffins is to top it with some sugar. So that's what we're gonna do now. Now that we've done our garnishings, I have the oven preheating to 425. There, we're gonna place the muffins in and have them bake for 5 minutes just to help them bloom and give that muffin top look. And then we're gonna lower the temperature to about 350 and bake them for about 10 to 15 minutes. Let's go. The pumpkin chocolate chip muffins are done baking and we let them cool about 10 to 15 minutes. I absolutely love sharing my treats, so let's pack them up and share them with my neighbors. Now off the kitchen, let's go into the bedroom. I'll get to our main bedroom, my second favorite room of the house. When we were deciding what colors to paint this room, we weren't exactly sure. It was a neutral color, and so I was like, you know what? The rest of the house is kind of, bold. Let's go with, keep it neutral. But we recently had a paint consultant come and help us with other rooms of the house, deciding what to paint them. I was like, you know what? I'm actually kind of bored of the bedroom and it didn't really flow with the story we were telling with the house. And so when he came in here, he was like, what are you envisioning? I told him I love the period dramas. I love period TV shows, period movies. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite themes, Victorian era. He was like, what do you think about this burgundy color and this pink color, which is actually a funny color name. It's called Soaking Room Pink by Farrah and Ball, which I think is just the funniest thing ever because it's for our bedroom. But I was like, okay, you know what? You have done an amazing job with, the other rooms of the house. Let's do it. Let's try it out. And I'm so glad we did because I absolutely love burgundy. And so being able to wake up in this bedroom, it just feels like a dream. Feels like we're in a hotel and it's hard to get out into the rest of the house because I just love being in here so much. When we first moved here and I was visioning what I wanted the space to look like on Pinterest and everything, I knew I wanted something above the bed in like a canopy way. Since it has such high ceilings, I knew we couldn't really do, a canopy falling from the ceiling. I also wanted to do something simple and easy. And so I was like, you know what? Let's do a curtain with a valance. This is the actual thing we went to the Facebook Marketplace meetup to go get, and it's absolutely beautiful. We almost didn't get it, but the people who were supposed to get it backed out, and I was like, you know what? Perfect. This is actually meant for me. And so it's this beautiful mustardy yellow, which I think ties beautifully with the room. And so to pull in the different colors of the room, I wanted the bed to showcase that with a little accent with the blues and the greens that are in with the rest of the house. And then we have our nightstands that we got from Restore, just a generic nightstand that fits the room in the style of the space. And then we have one of my favorite things in this space. My little vanity area where I do my makeup. We got this from our favorite local store, Home, and I at first didn't get it. I was like, you know what? This was like the first month we moved into the house. I don't know where everything's gonna go. Let me just like wait on it. I waited 3 days, couldn't stop thinking about it nonstop, constantly. And so I was like, hey, we gotta go back and go get it. And so we got it, and I'm so glad we did, because it just makes getting ready so much fun. So another thing that I knew that I wanted for this room when we first saw it was a couple of chairs or one nice, medium-sized big chair. And so when I was searching online, this beautiful chair with the floral accents became available. And so I asked her, I was like, is this still available? She said it was. And so we went over literally the weekend before our housewarming party or sometime around that and got this beautiful chair. Then while I was typing my name in to, pay her through Venmo, she was like, actually, I follow you on social media. And so I was like, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, hi, thank you so much for the chair. It was just beautiful meeting her in person, but just knowing our love of thrifting and hominess, the Victorian era, the romanticization, brought us together. And so that's here. Here we have another art piece by my fiance's grandmother. We originally didn't know where to put it when we first brought it to the house. This was back when the room was, a neutral color. And so now that the room is pink and burgundy with the pink accents in the picture, I was like, you know what? This is perfect. We're gonna put it right here. Over here, we have the second podium of the pair that we got from Facebook Marketplace. I didn't really know where to put it, but this space here in our bedroom was empty, and I was like, perfect. Now, when it came to what to put on the podiums, I knew I've been searching for a thing to put my magazine collection, and I was like, you know what? Let's give like a fun little layered look. And so I placed my magazines here. I love collecting magazines. It came to me in a really fun way. I've always loved magazines, but never really actually bought magazines. I love reading them online. And so at my previous apartment, some amazing queen would put her magazines in the donation area of our apartment. And she had beautiful covers from Vogue to Bon Appetit to Harper to Essence with just her little address cut out. And I was like, you know what? This is beautiful. I grabbed them, and there became the start of my magazine collection. And so here it is on display. These flowers I got for our housewarming party. The theme was, garden, helping us sow seeds into the house. And so although the housewarming party was around the springtime, and I absolutely love this kind of arrangement, it's just something fun to have on display as just a little reminder of the housewarming parties and the memories associated with it. Next, we have an armoire, another thing that is an absolute dream. I've always wanted one. I think they are the coolest things ever. And so this armoire we got off of Facebook Marketplace, and to make it even special, they delivered it, which was an absolute dream because you can never find that really. It's a rarity when it comes to Facebook Marketplace things. It's so much fun learning the history of the items and why they are getting rid of it. And so they were like, we're moving out the country. We're just trying to get rid of our things. I was like, I will happily take this. And they were like, people don't typically, they have a hard time getting the item. And so they're like, it's because we want to get rid of it, where we decided to deliver it. And it was an absolute dream. And I absolutely love having it. It's a great use of space and a great holder for our clothes and items. Another thing my fiance and I love doing is board games and playing games together. And so we have our little board game collection here in this beautiful chess piece that has ducks, a lake, that I think just ties in beautifully with our cottage theme that we are going for. So the house was in good condition, had a really great phone, so we didn't really have to do much in the sense of like the technicalities, but it was a bachelor. He had his bachelor set up with like the TV in the corner, a leather couch, The kitchen was a bit dated. He had his daughter's room in all blue with unicorns. It was really, really cute. But a bit dated for us, but I kind of liked that because it allowed us to come in and make their house our own since he didn't really add too much updates to it. So it was really nice to just come in, vision what we could do with it, with the space, and yeah. Yeah, I would describe my home style a little bit of everything. I really, really like English cottage style. That's what we really envisioned for this house when we stepped into the house, but I also really base my style off of media. So, you know, period movies, period TV shows, books. I love Pride and Prejudice. So I just really wanted something that felt like an extension of what I love, but also what my fiance loves. So I would describe it as like I said, a mix of everything from English countryside to French countryside to a little bit of modern with a little bit of tradition and a little bit of Chizoba. So yeah, that's how I would describe my style. Welcome to our music room. We picked out this color with our paint consultant. We were in here with this briefcase full of paint samples. And when deciding the colors, we were deciding between blues, oranges, reds. And what stuck with me with red is that it just reminded me of a music studio vibe. And since my fiance loves to play his guitars, he has his pedals, he has his bass, I was like, you know what? Let's give him his own little music studio kind of vibe and room. And so that's how we came up with this space, but also the red for this space. Here we have our vinyl wall. We're huge fans of Loewe, Harry Styles, Lorde, but also Queen Beyonce. So it just holds all of our favorite artists and musicians. Here I wanted to do something fun, and my fiance in our previous apartment had his acoustic guitar hung on the brick wall. So just to bring a little bit of that into this space, we hung his guitars, a few of his guitars that he has gotten and collected over the years throughout his childhood, and a few of the guitars that I've also gifted him for Christmas and his birthday. Here we have his pedals, our cameras, because we're also a little bit into photography. When we were in high school and college, it helped us make, you know, a little side hustle in college and high school. And so we have that there just to, you know, help us remember of that time in our music room and just, you know, our fun room in the house. He has his pedals, his books about pedals, and just, you know, the boxes that come along with it, just to fit with the music studio kind of vibe. Welcome to our guest room. So our guest room is the second really neutral room of the house. We also had the paint consultant help us with this room. And I was like, you know what? Since the rest of the house is, you know, fun and funky in a cool way, how about we give the guests, you know, a calming aspect and room? And so that's how we came up with the colors for this room. But I still want to have the touch of fun and creativity. And so that's why we painted the trim this fun, funky purple brown color. Here we have our guest bed. I just wanted it to feel super cozy and comfortable, you know, as you would be in like an English countryside inn. And so I found this bed on Facebook Marketplace. This girl, she was graduating from UNC Chapel Hill, and she shared with us it actually had been in her family for generations. And I think she said they were ready to part with it. And I was like, you know what? Thank you for allowing us to be a part of the bed's legacy. And it was fun. It was fun to tell her that we just got our first house and we'll make sure it's loved and cherished. And so it is here in our guest bedroom just for them to enjoy. My fiance and I love searching Facebook Marketplace, Restore, Thrift Store for different art pieces, for different aspects and spaces for the cottage. And because we buy the art without really knowing where it's gonna go, we had these two art pieces that we couldn't really place in the rest of the house. And we were like, you know what? Let's try the guest room. It's, you know, pretty neutral, pretty cozy. And that's how this ended up being here. And we think it's absolutely perfect in the space. And now we're on the search for a little one for the middle. Continuing our love of going to Restore, we were there on the search for a bed and a couple other things for the house, tables, the basics when you first move into the house. And as we were walking the aisles of Restore, we came upon this director's chair, and I literally just stopped. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I've never really seen a director's chair before, like in person, only like movies and TV shows. I've never really seen it in like any other our friends or family spaces. I'm like, this is so cool. And so I knew we had to get it. And here it is in all its glory in our guest room. It is one of the favorite things that people love to point out when it comes to the house. My dad, whenever he comes, he just comes over and he just plops himself on the chair as we show him what's new with the house. And it's just a fun thing to have in our guest room for them to enjoy. As we were feeling the room and the space of our guest room, this corner over here, when we filled it with, the bed, the dresser, the nightstands, the director's chair, we were like, there has to be something over here in this little corner space. And my fiance, he loves bookshelves. We love bookshelves. There's bookshelves all over the house in our cozy corners. And so we were like, this area needs a bookshelf. And so this is just an ad for Restore. We went to our favorite place, Restore, and we found this bookshelf and filled it up with some of my favorite books. I love fantasy, so we were like, let's make this little fantasy fiction bookshelf, and here it is today. Home means to me a place and collection of memories. From a lot of the pieces here in our home are thrifted, and so just the memories attached to finding the perfect piece, but also transporting it to the house. So we have memories of our neighbors helping us move the couch around. We have a memory of our other neighbor helping us bring in the couch or like bring in a dresser or something. So just the memories of like connecting with other people who also love thrifting. I get a lot of pieces from Facebook Marketplace. So just the connection of meeting those people who are also interested in what I'm interested, from thrifting, antiques, vintage pieces. It's just been so nice. From a collection of memories from that aspect, but also a collection of memories from, like I said, I love hosting, I love gathering. And they're pretty chill right now because we did just move in about 6 months ago. But the collection of memories in the sense of having our friends over, having our neighbors over, having my sister over, having my family over, since they're just a few minutes down the road, has just been really nice. So that's what home means to me.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.